I wanted to share this with you. You probably will not be able to find this uh, book anywhere. Two books, actually. So I just thought I'd share them with you. It's cute. I just said it's Our House Beautiful. Uh, America's Treasure, The Enduring Spirit of DAR. And I used this in my getting to know DAR display at the library every year. Um, constitutional, I do a constitutional display, and then I do, see, good picture of the front, um, a display of DAR items. You can see the house there a little bit better. But, so that's the house. That's the building, 1776 D Street in Washington, D.C. And they recently did a little storybook for kids, and I thought I would share. It's called DAR If These Walls Could Talk, a Memorial Constitutional Hall storybook. This is a beautiful home. Once upon a time, on the 4th of July, Charlotte and her father traveled all the way from their home state of Texas to visit Memorial Continental Hall in Washington, D.C. This very special building is the national headquarters for the Daughters of the American Revolution, which is called DAR. Charlotte's grandmother, Pamela, who is the president, dear President General, arranged for Charlotte to meet some new friends and then take a tour of the building. And I should get started with it. This is the D. Louise book series, and I am Christina. And this is where we read books and talk about books. No special effects, no theme music, none of that fancy smancy stuff going on here. Check out my Star Trek Next Generation recaps every Friday, my If Then Friday afternoons. If you like this author, maybe like that author. And don't forget to check out my Romantic Times book review every Monday, Flashback Monday, where we talk about the books in here. Do up to 60, 70, 80, sometimes 80 books a week. If you're looking for mystery, Regency, contemporary romance, paranormal, harlequins, we cover them all. So let's get back to our little start. As Charlotte climbed the steps with her father in tow and skipped into the Pennsylvania foyer, her eyes sparkled. "This is a beautiful home. We should all live here," she shouted, surprised momentarily to hear her voice echo off the marble walls and statues. From the other side of the room, Charlotte heard giggles as 4 girls came over to greet her, led by a pretty young lady wearing a dark gray pantsuit. "You must be Charlotte," she said. I'm Mary, a docent for DAR. Here are Gracelyn, Riley, and Eleanor from Maryland, and this is Mallory from Louisiana." All the girls were buzzing with excitement about the tour and the fireworks to come later that night. "Is this really a home?" asked Mallory. "Why, yes, in a way," said Mary. "This is the home of the Daughters of the American Revolution. We daughters call it Our House Beautiful. It is the place where we gather to plan, celebrate, serve, and share the stories and treasures this building holds." Great question, Mallory. Any others before we begin? "I have a question," Eleanor asked, raising her hand. "What's a docent? I've never heard that word before." "A docent is a person who volunteers to give tours of important buildings like Our House Beautiful," Mary explained. "My job is to guide you through your journey today, and share with you all the secrets and stories Memorial Hall has to offer. Then, at the end of the time, I have a special surprise for each of you." "I love surprises so much," Charlotte said. "Me too," said Mary, "but we have so much to see. Are you ready?" "Sure am," said Charlotte as she waved goodbye to her father and followed the group around the corner to their first stop. As the girls walked into the O'Brien Gallery, the sun streamed through the windows, casting a warm glow over the herringbone floor. "Many visitors to Our House Beautiful say this is their favorite room," said Mary. Some people even get married here, and every Christmas we host a big party with a special guest of honor. Can you guess who that is?" "Who?" the girls shouted in unison. "Santa Claus!" I want to come and meet Santa. I already have my Christmas list ready, said Riley. Well, we'll make sure to get you an invitation, Riley, said Mary, as she chuckled and moved to the next room. As the group entered the DAL library, the girls marveled at the books shelved floor to ceiling and the beautiful ley lights on the ceiling above. I've never seen so many books in my life, said Eleanor. Would you believe there are more than 225,000 books in the DAR library? Mary asked. All of them tell stories about people who are connected to the patriots who fought for our nation's independence, the holiday we are celebrating. These must be the most important books in the world, said Charlotte, reaching up to examine some of the volumes on a nearby shelf. Yes, these books are all treasures, said Mary, and we have many more precious treasures yet to see in our next stop. The library? It's a big, massive room. Huge. And if I could find my pictures, I would show them. I don't know if there's a picture in here of. Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know who these people are, but that's the room. It's a couple of floors high. I don't want to. And that's another one in the library here. All the books. Huge, 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 massive room. These are the period rooms. Okay. Where was I? I lost my place. In the DAR museum, the girls made a beeline to a stunning red dress on display. I love this dress, exclaimed Mary. It's so sparkling. This dress once belonged to a wonderful singer named Marian Anderson, who performed in DAR Constitution Hall. We are borrowing it from another museum so we can share it with our visitors, Mary explained. However, most of the treasures here belong to DAR and we protect them. Some are kept here in the DAR museum, some are kept in storage, and others we carefully place in state period rooms. You mean states have rooms here? Asked Maryland Grace. Does Maryland? Yes. DAR has 31 state period rooms, including rooms for all three of your home states, Maryland, Louisiana, and Texas. Follow me, I will show you. After leaving the DAR museum, the group rounded the corner, and Grace was the first to spot the sign at the top of the door. The Maryland Noon. Look, it's set up for a tea party. That's right. This is a parlor, a formal room where guests were entertained. They wore fancy clothes like dresses for girls and tall hats for boys. The group made its way to Louisiana Room, where Mally learned the many ways of women of all backgrounds and helped the Louisiana State Society and National Society. She was happy to discover the room dedicated to her state contained the only Native American artifacts in Memorial Continental Hall. I love that basket. I want to learn how to make it. Let's see, which room is that? Kentucky. Here's an older picture of Maryland. There. And the one at the top is Kentucky. And uh, the one down here is West Virginia. Um, the one up here is New York. I think it's changed a little since then, but that's New York. Um, that's Michigan here in the blue. And this is Virginia. There's more stuff in there now. North Carolina. A lot of this stuff gets changed every couple of years. I know I have recenter stuff, but this is a little older. Um, New Jersey room here, and Oklahoma, and Wisconsin down there. So some of those rooms. Um, On the way to the Texas room, Mary pointed out the beautiful chandeliers in the Connecticut boardroom and explained that Thomas Edison's company reportedly installed electricity for the building, and his wife, Mina Miller Edison, was chaplain general from 1923 to 24. Charlotte then noticed the Texas room next door, rushed to the entrance, and leaned over the railing to see what was inside. "Let me tell you a story about this room," said Mary. "One day, daughters gathered downstairs where the DA or library is now to decide which state would get which room. That was when a daughter from Houston quickly sprinted up the stairs and shouted, 'This room belongs to Texas.' The girls laughed at the thought of a grown woman running up the stairs to claim a room. That sounded like something a kid would do." "I love that story," said Charlotte. "The funny stories are always the best." "I love that one too," said Mary. "In fact, I love it so much I make sure to share it with all the guests on my tours. Sometimes it's difficult to decide which stories to tell. There are so many. We daughters often say, 'Imagine the stories this building would tell if the walls could talk.'" "I want to know what that wall would tell," said Riley, pointing towards the ceiling. "Why is the white paint all brown and wrinkly?" "Well, this building was damaged a few years ago by an earthquake, and cracks on the outside have led to water damage on the inside, like you see," said Mary. "Oh, no. But what about the sparkly dress and the paintings and the books and all the wonderful treasures we've seen today?" "Don't worry," Mary kneeling to comfort Eleanor. "All those treasures will be kept safe. Right now, daughters around the country are raising money to fix the building." "Do you have enough money?" "Not yet, but we will. Daughters always come through. And we will again. This is our home. It's one of the largest buildings in the country, owned just by us girls. We are the proud of the fact that it is the one true monument to the American Revolution in Washington, D.C. See? And I think I will leave you with these and her father. DAR Hall. As the National Society was being formed, founders dreamed of a fireproof building to protect historic objects and relics that would no doubt come to the Society for safekeeping. Recognized as one of Washington, D.C.'s most elegant buildings, Memorial Continental Hall was designed in the classic revival style of the Beaux Arts in 1905 by prominent Washington architect Edward Pierce Casey, who also designed the interior of the Library of Congress. Memorial Continental Hall was designed as a registered National Historic Landmark in 1972 for its role in history, which included hosting the famous conference on the limitation of armaments in the wake of WW2. Diplomats from all over the world met to discuss limits on the proliferation of arms. Their work at Memorial Continental Hall remains a recognized milestone in the global peace efforts towards disarmament. During the Second World War, daughters helped the American Red Cross care for wounded soldiers. During the Spanish-American War, the National Society founded the DAR Hospital Corps to certify nurses for service in the U.S. Army. Many Hollywood movies and television shows have filmed at DAR, including National Treasure, Salt, The West Wing, Veep, and Parks and Recreation. Our house, beautiful. Check it out. Check it out. Have a good one.